Welcome to The Five, the podcast with Nick Sarayev and Matthew Larson, where we run you through 5 things that we're doing today in our businesses to achieve more revenue and then ultimately live a happier and less stress-free life. How you doing today, Matt?
Good. How are you?
Good?
We're not living a less stress-free life.
I think we're living less stress-free lives, yeah.
Yeah, where'd you come up with that?
Well, I think it's not necessarily about living a completely stress-free life, but it's about living a less stress-free life.
You look crispy.
Thank you, man.
Did you get another camera?
No, I didn't. Same one. Just got some good
Same
light.
camera? You just look better? You just got less bad?
That happens with me. I tend to look better over time, and then you tend to look worse over time.
No, I look better.
That Dubai sun must not be treating you.
I look way better over time. Let me just put some buttons up here. This is a professional, serious event.
Let's cover up a little bit.
Yeah, like 1 sec. I don't even know how to do this shirt up, but it'll be fine.
After a certain revenue level, you don't have to.
Yeah, like the more you do, the more zeros you do, you can unbutton.
So, you want to get us started? What's point number 1?
What's point number 1 today? What did I say it was? 1 sec here. The first thing that I am doing these days is I have this pay-per-lead agency, and it's all about increasing the perceived value of the leads. You know, it's one thing for them to be really valuable, but if they're not like actually realizing it's valuable, like that's bad. So I sell leads to these people and they close the leads, right? It's kind of basic marketing. But I've done a few things, 4 different things, I believe. We'll see if I can remember them all to do that. And the first one is now every time that someone closes on their end, or someone, depending on what kind of lead, but someone closes, it has a trigger from the Google Sheet that sends an AI email saying that, oh my God, congratulations, you closed this person. That lead was from Matt. So they don't forget. It texts them unless they get really angry, some of them, and say, stop texting me like that. But for like 80% of them who don't turn it off, every time they close a deal from one of my leads, they get reminded that it's one of my leads. So they don't forget, because it's easy to forget or think that it's always like most people, they start thinking it's because they're so smart when they're just buying my leads. So repetition is important, especially if they're closing several per day or even several per week, probably more than several per week, but they keep getting reminded. The second thing is that I actually, in the past 4 hours, maybe more than 4 hours at this point, it's actually almost the end of the day in Dubai. But in the CRM or the Google Sheet or whatever we use, now I put integrated OpenAI to like make a summary of it instead of like normally before they're just columns like yes, no, yes, 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 no. They have a 2020 Toyota Corolla. They have a valid license. They live in this like area code for auto insurance or something. Now it's like sends them that stuff, but it sends a text message to all their team members with an AI summary. Like this name is Nick Sarayev. He lives in Wilmingham, Delaware, or somewhere. Wilmingham somewhere. Who knows? I just saw that one. His area or zip code is 19713, and he's looking for new insurance within the next 14 days. And that just puts a lot more perceived value, in my opinion, than just either not send them a notification at all or just sending them like, okay, this is the lead with X, Y, and Z. So who knows? Like we're gonna probably. I feel like anything I say on here is gonna be not anecdotal, but not provable as far as the retention increase with this. But it's seeming good. I getting less questions since I started doing all that stuff, and seems like more repeat buyers. And
yeah, for sure.
Good.
I think that you're touching on something really important, which is just this is a free win, right? It's like extra leverage. You might as well, you're generating the lead, which is the most difficult part. So you might as well like multiply the perceived value of that lead as much as possible. The marginal cost to generate an AI summary of all of their information is probably on the order of like 1/1000th of a cent. And it's like you probably spent dozens of dollars to acquire that, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think I've spent like $50 on those credits out of like huge volume of leads. Another one is that at the end of every week, because you can see who they closed and how many leads they bought. It auto generates with this one's with Claude, because I couldn't get OpenAI to do it properly for some reason. But it'll say like, you bought 175 leads this week. You closed 15 new deals. The average deal size you closed was this. This is your ROI. And it texts them on Friday night. It's pretty impressive. I was like pretty pleased with myself, you know?
Nice. Just
So like actually see an
reconfirming your
ROI
return
and
on
then say,
investment.
and then it says, but also like your average, like for auto insurance, your average client stays with you for 3.3 years. So this is a huge ROI, you know?
Yeah. You're basically just like, I'm amazing over and over and over and over again.
Oh, I just blast them with being amazing. Like this is because of you know what I mean?
Who do you have to thank?
Who do you have to thank? It's me. And then the final one is doesn't really matter to me like what it is, but all the entire funnels are branded to their company. So like the landing page, the form, thank you page, the SMS, the email flows. And like one of the biggest objections that they don't like about a lot of other companies like mine is that they have no idea who their company is. Like Nick Sarive, you're phoning someone, they have no idea who Nick Sarive is. So that's like a very good thing if they're like choosing between a few companies like mine, because they don't know. Like, there's no point in talking about how good your product is, because they wouldn't know that unless they tried it. And leads are leads, like from a perception. So no one else does that, in my opinion or my experience, or I've not seen. So if they're choosing between like 5 people, they're going to choose me. It's a good selling point. Throw Big Eric on the calls. You know, Eric's and closing them.
Yeah.
Our boy, Big Eric.
He is our boy, Big Eric.
Yeah, big dog.
There's just so many of these low-hanging fruit that I think people don't realize are the majority of how the client perceives the value of the service. Like, obviously, what is the objective value of the service? It's leads, right?
Yeah, it's but ROI, basically, if they've got that money or not.
It's kind of like when you give somebody a birthday present, you don't often just give them the thing. You give them the packaging around it, right? You make sure that the little case is beautiful when they open it, or you carry it in like a little bag, or maybe put it in some box. There's so much more perceived value of the product at the end of the day if you just take a little bit of time to do that. And then it's such a marginal amount of the total cost on your end to fulfill. Like, I mean, yeah, like we talked about, you spend $50 for the lead, you spend 2 cents for the packaging. And it's like, calculate the ratio on that, you know? It's like 1/1000%. But that's going to improve how they perceive the value of that service by far more than 1/1000%.
I actually built all 4 of those things using ChatGPT, explaining how to do it and make. One of them is make.com, 3 of our N8N. It's kind of hard to say N8N. I commend you in these videos. But like people like, oh, I gotta either not do it, just it's too hard, or hire someone. And I'm like, I wouldn't say I'm that good. I'm like basic level at Zapiermake.com, but
you're
not that good.
Level. Yeah.
Dangerous level. And then one thing I'm going to do, I have plans, is whatever, like this is specifically like, this is a good example for auto assurance where, like, let's say they're in North Dakota or something. No, let's say Utah. Let's make it realistic. I'll be like, oh, there's like, because part of, I always like ambush people on the calls, like, you know, one, like when you're getting a sale, you know, you're getting 2 sales because you're taking away, because there's only a few big auto insurance companies. There's like Allstate, Geico. You're taking away from Geico. So I'm going to say that every Friday. Look, you closed 15 clients this week. That's 15 clients less in your state, or like for Geico to do. Just kind of blast
probably
them.
Like enumerate all of the value there, you know? So
yeah, like you can. I've been messing with it today. Like there's it'll be estimates, but there's 1.8 million drivers in Tennessee. You just got this many % of them this week. Even though that might like discourage them because it's going to be 0.0. Yeah, but
still, I, you know, like because the value of the lead is obviously like the objective value of the lead, and then it's like the value of your competitors not having that lead, and then it's not the value of the lead just that one time, it's the value of the lead per month multiplied by their average churn rate, right? And then there's like I don't know, there's some referral multiplier that you could probably add to the value of the lead too, because I don't know if it works that way in this business model, but they probably are likely to refer good insurance providers to other friends and family members and stuff, right?
Right. Yeah, I did
Yeah,
not
so
think of that. You could say that
on
though.
paper, the value of a lead is like I don't know, let's say it's $1,000 objectively, but then when you add all this other shit in, it's like actually $5,000.
Yeah, that's a good one. I'm writing that down.
Yeah, write that one down.
Yeah, fine. A broken
This
clock
brought to you
is
by
right
Nick.
twice a day. You know?
True that.
So I'm gonna go 5 friends and family need auto insurance too. I feel like that would be good for like auto insurance or something that everybody needs.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, it's kind of like the way that real estate agents, they'll freaking drive around town once a year and just like give you a pie before Christmas. And it's like, why are they doing that? Well, it's just because the main function that determines whether or not you go with a real estate agent is just like knowing a real estate agent around the time that you or a friend of yours like wants to buy or sell a house. Like that's it. So you just like show up more often.
Yeah, that's a good one. There's a lot of stuff that could be done, I'm sure. And then like all of those people have, like, depending on what you're generating leads for, but some of them are national, some have like their own territory and they can't go outside their territory. And I was talking shit, I think, on one of my mastermind calls that it was because I literally got my insurance broker license, mortgage broker license, and debt relief bond to do this. Like you guys are all in the past like few years, yeah. Like you guys are all squeaking out your 10K per month. I'm bonded to sell debt insurance or debt relief in 48 states. Like, relax.
Holy dude, I didn't know that you were licensed and bonded. That's crazy. So you're technically a licensed mortgage broker now as well?
Yeah. Well, I've
How the hell
been mortgaged for
what's the process?
a few years.
Of
It takes like 6 months. You have to go to like classes and shit.
Do you see you did this?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, but like, because you're not to advertise for mortgage specifically, and some you have to have like an NLSE number is what it's called, I think. And you can use your clients, I guess, if you wanted to. But if you want to make your own SEO site as part of it that you could sell for one day, you have to have your own.
Yeah.
And like you have to like submit this to Facebook if you're doing enough spend. Like you probably get away with it on low spend, but it's very easy to like get sued. We're not doing that.
Yeah, and I'm sure there's a lot of people like ratting other non-licensed people out in the industry because it's quite
especially if you're in like California or something. Like they just go at you just for no reason. Like
that's great. That's how you'll be remembered, Matthew Larson, the mortgage broker.
Yeah, I'm also an insurance broker
and an insurance broker. Very cool.
Life, auto, and home.
I'm just busting your balls, man. That's great.
I know. Yeah. These kids don't know. These kids don't know what it takes. You know, 6 months in mortgage broker school, 4 months in auto insurance broker.
Insane.
Debt relief bonded. You don't have to, but
you have to physically show up, or is it all just online?
You have to physically show up. When I was doing it for the test, at least.
Yeah,
or for like the exam. Yeah, but it's good. It's worth it, you know. And now, well, I've had it for a while, but now I can just hire people to report everyone else who doesn't have it. And it's going to be good.
Part of the strategy that probably isn't discussed. Just the Paris.
It is a core part of the strategy. Yeah. So we have one team to report everybody's ads, and we have another team of VAs to just pray for my success all day.
One in the chapel.
Yeah, one VA team in Ecuador, one VA team in Nigeria, and one VA team in Malaysia, where they just 24/7. I have someone praying for my success.
Those places just closer to God.
Yeah, well, no, it's just the time zones, you know, like 24/7 coverage. No matter what time it is, brilliant. I have a team of 500 VAs praying for me.
That's brilliant. I don't think Hormozy would make a video like that. But
yeah, 500 VAs in each, you know, $4 an hour, $2,000 an hour. It's worth it. It's expensive, but it's worth it.
Nice. But you should have led with that point, man. Screw the whole lead value thing.
Yeah.
My secret sauce is I hire virtual assistants in low cost of living countries to pray for me.
Yeah, 500 of them at a time. Always praying for my success. And you? What have you been doing?
Oh, you're finally going to ask me, huh?
Yes. We're on a tight schedule here.
You're right. We are actually. I'm going to have to go pretty quickly here because I got a hard stop at night. My big thing's daily stand-ups and retros. We were talking about management a while ago, and you were interested about the various management techniques I was deploying for my small team. This is back when I was in the
Your very small team. Yep.
every day phase, back in the good old days,
like a week
before
ago.
before the recent calamity of me stopping. But the
You
big thing was like,
stopped?
hey, how do
Oh
you?
my god.
Yeah, rough
You-
stuff, right?
I haven't been up with you. It's not like
Don't-
you're very
don't run
significant
the-
to
don't
my
run the
life.
numbers.
So
Don't run the
let's
numbers.
see.
Not good. Nobody needs to
So
see those.
should we turn this into like why would we listen to you if you can't even post every day? Should we just turn this into like who hurt you type conversation? 4 days, 8 hours.
Yeah. It's been quite a while.
Jesus.
Okay, but anyway, the whole point is, you were asking me about the management structure, and the idea was, the team was pumping out really high quality content at quite the clip. And so what I want to do now is just share with you that management structure. And what I think is probably the simplest and cleanest way of going about this, if you have a team that's geographically distributed, aka all on different time zones, while also minimizing like my personal involvement in the management. Because obviously you could, after you reach a sufficient size, you just hire a manager to take care of it. I did that with One Second Copy and whatnot. And I think for any like laborious industry where you need a lot of people, like some agency, like your agency when you're doing that game, obviously you need managers and whatnot, right? But these really high leverage ones, like affiliate in your case, or content in my case, these don't really require a team that big to achieve absolutely ridiculous like revenue and profit numbers. So it makes sense if I'm going to be doing the management myself to do it as efficiently as possible. So here's what it looks like. I do a daily stand-up every morning. It's asynchronous. You just have to tell me what it is that you're going to work on today. It's a brief little message that legitimately takes 30 seconds for me and the other person to do. So I just say, hey, what are you working on today? Give me the daily stand-up. And then they fill it out and they tell me what they are going to be working on in the day. And I can very quickly verify whether or not that's something that I consider valuable, obviously. Most of the time, they're going off of some longer roadmap or a longer plan that we built. So it usually is. And, I give them a little thumbs up emoji and then we're on. Then at the end of the day, before they sign off, they give me a brief little breakdown of what they did. And then their only task is, like the main thing that they have to do, their deliverable, is to post it in the general Slack where every other person on the team can see as a form of accountability. So I actually got the idea from you with your daily work forms. And I found that it was super valuable for me to be accountable to obviously you and a bunch of the other people. But it turns out it is obviously just as accountable for everybody in your team to be accountable to everybody else on the team. I don't get them to fill out a form. All they have to do is just put in the deliverable that they've done that day. And I just focus on usually one deliverable. And then they pump it in the chat. And you know what ends up happening is everybody else in the group just rewards the hell out of them and validates them and says stuff like, dude, great job, Peter. You crushed it. My God, what an awesome edit, Sam. Right? They get all the thumbs up emojis and hearts and likes and stuff like that. And then if there are any issues with their deliverable, then I just send them a DM in private so that they get the positive recognition and validation from everybody else in the team. They get the accountability of doing it in front of everybody and knowing that there are people out there that are waiting for them to do the thing. And then everybody on the company, which in my case is still quite small. We only have a team of 4 now that the community manager left. Is everybody in the company is basically just up to date all the time with everybody else's deliverable. And then you also just get more engagement in the group as well, without having to do meetings and stuff like that, which I just detest. So this has been an awesome strategy. Like, I don't want to say it's completely hands off, obviously, but in terms of the actual daily management time required on my end, we're talking like 5 minutes, asynchronous. So I don't actually have to show up. If I have any sort of comms or anything like that, it's usually like a Loom video that I will post in the chat. And then guess what? I do the same thing. So when I'm done with my daily deliverable, I post it in general too. And then they hype me up. And then I feel so much more likely, I'm so much more likely to do it the next day as well. So yeah, all paths lead to success with a strategy like that. I just feel like you need something at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day. It's just sort of like, hey, are you headed in the right direction right off the get-go? And then, hey, do you land somewhere in the proximity of where I want you to land by the end of the day? And then the validation and shit just keeps people going. So
do you do like start, stop, keep? Like it's from an old project management book, and Alex Hormozy, I saw made a video on it. It's like every Monday or every Friday, you tell the email list of things to start doing, stop doing, and then keep doing.
No, I don't. I haven't done. I don't want to say any deeper dives into management just because this has worked pretty well for me so far. I imagine the bigger the teams get, the more I need to do that.
We never especially really like first 30 days. First 30 days, start, stop, keep every day.
Yeah. I could see that being valuable. The recent issue that I'm finding, or the reason why I've really drilled down on this and now, like made a structure, was because it was very easy for me to run a structure like this when everybody just had one thing they needed to do today. So, if you hire a videographer and their daily deliverable is to edit a video and they're expected to post it every single day for 30 days, obviously it's pretty easy to like tie that to something, right? Same thing with the strategist. He does one outline every day for 30 days. And then I do one recording every day for 30 days. But since I've stopped, daily recording and we're focusing on like longer term, longer videos and larger strategies, like we're doing this 6-hour agency masterclass that's going to be posted in a few days. We can't actually have like the deliverable for that every day. Like it's not a completed video. So yeah, I've had to change that a little bit and then introduce this daily morning stand-up thing. And it's been working great. It's working really well. So I imagine I'm probably just going to like continue this sort of management structure up until my team's like 30 or 40 people.
Why would your team be 30 or 40? You got big plans like that?
Yeah, I think I could probably get to that point. I don't know if it'll ever need to be. Well, presumably they'd be just multiplying the leverage of the content that I create. So one big thing that I'm seeing right now, somebody that I just brought on was a VA to respond to LinkedIn and then Instagram ManyChat inquiries and then like emails. So for instance, if you just go to my Instagram, the ManyChat sequencing thing has like a live chat feature where you can get somebody to like help you with customer support or customer success and that sort of stuff. If you just type in Maker School, there's like 200 people that say, hey man, I really want to join this. I just have one quick question for you. Can you just like answer this one tiny thing? If I had gone through and answered all of those 200 people within, 24 hours of them asking me that question, I probably could have converted like half of them realistically, maybe more. So, it's like 100 people over the course of the last 3 months at a almost $200 a month subscription. It's not entirely accurate. With a greater than 5-month average churn. That's like $1,000 a person, right? 1,000 times 100, that's like $100,000. So, with leverage and whatnot, ideally I would have found a way to deal with this earlier, but I'm just finding a way to deal with it now. And that's a good example of just like the insane number of inquiries that I'm getting on a daily basis and somebody that I might need to like actively manage that. Now, could I have some sort of like AI setter that does this? Yeah, of course. But I think it's important.
That's good for a VA.
Yeah.
How many people are in your community now? I haven't been keeping up with your life as much these days, It's
in the past 3 days. He's just being passive aggressive because I didn't do the podcast on Wednesday when he wanted.
In the past 3 days, I've been keeping up. Yeah. I haven't really been keeping up. 3,300 paid members?
No. Yeah. 3,200 paid across the both of them.
What MRR?
Collectively, it's 335 on the community side. And then
USDs?
The USDs.
Dang.
The king of consulting the other day, Sam Ovens, just recorded a video basically just talking about how insane the funnel was, which is pretty
Yours?
Cool. Yeah. So I got shouted out by Mr. Ovens.
Where did he post that?
Formosi shout out, man. It's like school news or something.
Oh, very nice. Yeah. The funnel is insane. We link YouTube videos that are helpful and then post the link.
Yeah, pretty much. That's more or less what he said too. He's like,
that's crazy.
I just like this.
How did you think of that?
The secret sauce is just posting Maker School on every video asset that you produce. He's like, it's incredible. I was just like, right.
Was he like unironic?
You know what's one thing? No, he was unironic because he's a big fan of simplicity, right? You know what's really funny though? They looked at the number of admins that I had. And I had just promoted a bunch of people to admins, but they're not actually admins in my group. So I had 3 admins at the time. And they like blew their minds that I was doing this whole thing with 3 admins. Little did they know, it's actually just me. So like,
they're fake admins?
Yeah, they're fake, like basically fake admins. Like they're not admins that need to be admins. They're not actually doing administration of the group or moderation or anything. So they don't actually realize that it's like entirely just one dude leverage now. And I just run the whole thing on my own. I don't even have a community manager anymore. I bring in
Connor Kaplan, big monitor guy.
I bring in some people for events. What's really cool about Connor is Connor's just taken this responsibility on himself. And he's basically just said, hey man, can I come in your group once every 2 weeks and just like deliver sales training? It'll be really valuable for me because I want to brush up on this. I want to become an authority. You know that I'm really good at it and I have a bunch of social proof so I can add value to the group. I'm not going to take any time from you. I'll give you all of the posts. I do a post 48 hours in advance where I'm like, yo, check out Connor's sales training. He's like, I'll write it all for you. I'll deliver it all for you. I'll plan everything. I'll like give you the video link. Upload every like completely hands off.
Damn, he read $100 million offers.
100%. And I think he had like 130 people show up to his most recent sales training. So it's a massive value add. He's engaging in the group, but he's not actually like administrating it. Do you know what I mean?
Probably be good for him too.
The leverage is crazy. Just
You get
crazy.
business from that?
Do I get business from Connor doing
No.
group stuff?
Has he got business from that? Like,
Oh, most certainly. I don't know how much. I don't ask him.
I used to be a
I'm
coach
happy.
in one of the communities, and that used to be like my number one source of leads. Like he was teaching them, and they would just like, you just do it for me. I'm like, sure.
Yeah, exactly. The guy's great. He brought in some other guy the other day, Ryan Turkantz, I believe, who's closed like 25 mil. I don't know if it was real estate or some B2B stuff, but like that added a bunch of value as well. And then they were doing some co-coaching. And then we also do like live sales role plays. I say we loosely here again because I'm not involved in that at all. I literally just like, make a post 48 hours before this thing once every 2 weeks, and then he just like delivers a bunch of value. So that's one of the examples of like a highly leveraged business model that I think you can do, right? Like you can manage a community of 3,000 people on like a low to mid ticket offer, and you can do it entirely solo if you're smart.
How long does that take you?
Today it's been 90 minutes. Yeah, so I started this stuff at 6:30. We started at 8. So 90 minutes and I'm most of the way done.
Yeah, like one of the things that gets me like, so like, I get kind of angry, like I'm kind of angry person, but like not that angry most of the time. But there's like 5 or 6 things that get me angry fast. Like one of them is not being able to find a parking space, of course. But another one is like when people say like this task is low leverage when they're under like $1 million a month, or like even like let's say they're at like 5K a month, like also like a low leverage task. I'm like, dude, you don't have leverage. Like you're at 5K a month, like you're basically almost like homeless. Like relax.
Like
you don't need to be worrying about that.
Everything that you do is inherently low leverage. Like you should just start doing more stuff.
Is that high leverage? I'm like, well, clearly you're not building any leverage with the other 24 hours or your 23 hours and 59 minutes of your day. So why would you care about this?
This concept of just delegating everything that isn't high leverage or whatever, I think has just screwed a lot of people up. Because
I know I promote that concept too, but because I can't forget that you have to have over 120 IQ
and you have to have good like management skills, and you have to obviously like have all of that in place. And then usually you end up like doing this delegating or hiring thing. But then the time that you spend hiring, if you had just like spent that time building better processes, you wouldn't have needed to hire that person at the same time. It's like 10 hours to do the hiring, right? It's like, well, if you just spent 10 hours thinking about this and I don't know, flow charting it, you would eventually sorted the shit out. You wouldn't need to hire. And then, like, you are going to hire eventually if you want your business to be sufficiently large. But
I've seen the result of good advice I get taken by the wrong person and becoming horrible advice.
Yeah, I know.
Like the rule of 3 is like it's from Brian Tracy, and I have modules and modules about it in my stuff, and I see people do it and take it the wrong way, and it just literally destroyed their business.
Like we don't talk about
it's not funny. It's not funny, but I'm like, oh fuck.
It's
like Andrew Tate, like for like 5% of people, like really motivate them and they like change their life, and then 95% of people get too Tate pilled and just are absolute retards.
Yeah, become
retards.
Losers.
Yeah. I've met a few of these people because I didn't really realize, like, because we're old at this point, but like people who were like 18 in 2020 when Andrew Tate was coming out, you see them now, they're like so fucking weird.
Hey man, don't use words like that. Don't use words like that on this podcast. Old is like what? Age is relative.
Dude, we're old. So the next thing
I'm fine
is
with all the other ones, but yeah. Tell me point 3. Let's go.
I've been like, I don't know. I'm just going to change my point. I text you these before. We're not just winging it, but I'm just going to change it arbitrarily.
Speaking in their language. That's what you're planning on doing. What are you going to do?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to do that actually, but I'm also going to tie it back to these AI ads, because these AI ads are like, especially ads, like maybe not content, but I've been wrecking with AI ads in my lead selling business these days. But a few factors have to like be noted. It's like what I just said. Oh yeah, AI ads are the best, and then like they don't do it right, and then that screws up their business. Number one is you have to like edit it. Like because there's weird pauses and stuff like that all over the place, and like you got to put subtitles and stuff. But the fact is that if you're running Facebook or Instagram ads that are not in like Reels or like in feed, like 95% of people or more, because you can see that like the unmute rate, like don't unmute it anyway. And the AI ads, and AI is so much more convincing when it's not unmuted, because the sound doesn't have to like not necessarily match up to the lips and stuff. It looks a little weird. Like mostly like the mouth is what makes it look bad.
I agree.
But if you can't hear the volume, as in like a Facebook ad that doesn't get unmuted, it doesn't matter at all, and it actually looks extremely convincing. So you got to edit it. I like in CapCut. We don't need to do an editing tutorial, but just like splicing out, you just put auto captions and then there's like, how there's breaks in it. Just like
Mhm.
splicing that out, delete takes 2 seconds and then it actually sounds like a normal person. Then putting the captions right below the chin, um, just because you have to have captions and that's the best way to put it anyway. And then it kind of distracts from the mouth.
Oh, that's smart. I didn't even
And
think
then
about that.
just putting B-roll like
Yeah.
every few seconds. And then like that just actually makes a very compelling ad that is very hard to tell that it's fake. And then you put this ad was generated fully by AI in size 1 font. It was in there as FTC. I told you. um,
Do you need to
yeah,
disclose now?
yeah, you're supposed to since September 2024.
There's no way people, like vast
There's
majority
no way
of
people
people.
do.
Yeah.
But if you got big enough, you would, and I'm big
Yeah,
enough
for
that
sure. And
it
you are
would.
big enough. Yeah.
And I feel like that rule is going to prioritize people like making Joe Rogan affiliate marketing ads, not you actually just doing a willing AI avatar.
Yes. Yes. Of
That's
course.
not a deep fake, but you're supposed to, anyways, and I always do. And like, it's very interesting because I'm doing a business loan one. So, and then the ad actually just saw one of my clients do it, and I just took his exact script. He was doing it for real estate people in Dubai, and I just took it from all my offers in America, and just word for word the same ad, some B-roll of Eric, uh, and then just like a link to like a couple images of spreadsheets, like saying these are the leads you're gonna get. And it went from a cost per call for one offer from $80 down to $25 while 4 timesing the budget because it's really
Holy.
good. And then that brings back to like I texted you, like speaking in their language.
Yes.
Like instead of like you just totally gotta like either I know it sounds obvious, but you just don't even know your target audience most of the time, like most people. Like you could just go on Reddit or ask ChatGPT or like literally do like 1 second of research and like 5x your ad. Like for business loans, it's like, if you're sick of competing with packaged leads with other shops, like shared leads with other shops, like that's how they actually talk, not just
Hmm.
like, I really need lead generation. And then if you combine it with the AI people that could theoretically be them, like their target audience, like it actually,
You
and
probably get
plus
into like
it's,
demographics and stuff with that too. Now that I'm thinking about it.
yeah, you could definitely do it. So I made 5 ads, all the same script, the same editing, but just 5 different AI avatars.
Mhm.
And it's really strong. Like, and if you pay for the premium version of a lot of these tools, like there's some AI avatars you see all the time because it's on like the free or the very basic one. But if you
Right.
like the 1% of people who pay for the pro version of the tools, like you get AI avatars that you don't often see. And it
What's the
makes it.
VO? Are you using VO for this, or is this something else?
I've been using Arcads for this specifically.
Okay.
Like V1 was pretty bad, but this version's pretty good.
Yeah.
But you can't just like whip it up there and like do it. You got to have the captions right there. You got to have the editing. You got to have the B-roll. You got to have the right AI avatar speaking in their language. Like,
Mhm.
and then like you're getting $25 per call at I think $500 per day in spend. We never got more than like $125 per day per spend before, and $80 per call, and that's like a lot of calls.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
So it's
insane
almost
volume.
like 7, 8 calls a day. What Eric making Eric do for now.
You got to show me. Nice. Just working in like a sweatshop. Huh? You got to show me some of these after, man. Yeah. Send me a
Yeah,
text with like a link. I'd love to see one. Those
yeah.
captions sound really important. It's
Well,
about like
they're
it's
auto
not the
captioned.
actual for sure, but it's not like the AI video side of things that's making this pop, right? It's like how you've taken that raw output and then you've massaged it into something that looks plausibly deniable.
Right. And then
I feel you.
and then to a large degree, like if you don't know how to do a good ad anyways, it's not gonna you're not gonna make a good AI avatar ad.
Yeah, definitely.
So like most people miss that part. Like if you don't know how to do it without AI, it's not gonna end well for you.
Yeah,
Like can I borrow your content can I borrow your Claude projects to write content for me? I'm like, no, you no,
it's not going to
definitely
help.
not.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's actually gonna make it worse because I feel like I know a lot of people that I speak bad behind their back to you sometimes. You probably know who I'm thinking about, who literally cannot function without AI now. Like people are gonna get dumber. Like I just see some of this guy's stuff. I'm like there's just dashes everywhere. Like sound fair enough in every single piece of ad copy. I'm just like not happy. You know,
Yes.
like
Yes.
this looks like garbage. Just send it to them. And then, to be fair, I may say stuff like on this podcast about him, but I say way worse right to his face 10 times a day.
I think there's some nuance there. So this is actually about my next point. If you're fine with us stopping to talk about whatever the hell you're talking about, burying yourself into this hole, we can move on to me.
No problem. I'll write that
This is on
down.
my point about just running through my whole stack, top to bottom, and then basically getting. So I bin my day into 15-minute increments over the course of the last couple of days, and then I just like asked myself, "Hey, what are you doing right now?" And then I got this massive list of all the shit that I was doing. And then I just took those and then I separated them into 3 categories, like stuff that I need to do entirely on my own, stuff that AI can do entirely on its own, and then stuff that AI can help me do, if that makes sense. These 3 categories. And do you know what was one of the biggest things that I identified that AI could not help me realistically do? Do communications. It's believe it or not, you think that comms are super like a high leverage task for AI to help you with. But because of mistakes like you're talking about, where you're talking to really high agency, intelligent people, whether it's deal making or whether it's like reporting to a client or something like that, like people know, they can tell, right? It's not your tone of voice. Believe it or not, that's not actually something that I would like have AI replace, at least for now, because you run into issues where like the reputational cost of somebody like Matt or I figuring out that you were not communicating with us yourself, you were having a model do it. The probability of that occurring times the reputational impact is so freaking gigantic compared to the tiny little time savings that you get in doing it. It just doesn't really make sense to do, you know? So obviously you're
like,
talking about
when it's so obvious, you're like insulted. Like you thought exactly. I would fall for this.
Yes. And I see it all the time in my emails and now in my community posts, right? People will do what is clearly like they wrote a few bullet points into this thing. It was like, write me some grandiose sounding thing that, you know, like effectively communicates my points. And then I got to sit there and I got to read like 5 hours worth of their bullshit.
Value per second, brother. Value per second.
You could see it from like a mile away now, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So
especially if you use it frequently. Yeah, like you can spot it better if you use it frequently yourself.
Yeah, I don't advocate using it in any sort of personal comms. Like it's one thing if you're using it to create scripts for some VSLs or something like that. Like you're creating these short form ads, for instance. It's another thing I think if you're using it to create icebreakers for that like initial point of contact that enables you to unlock massive scale with something that's traditionally pretty scale limited, or there's a trade-off between that and like the templated language like whole emo. But it's another thing entirely if you're just like having it manage your life, you know, as like a communicator. So
I don't even like it when they're. I don't like it even like when they're doing it with like VSL scripts. I'm like, if I wanted it done with AI, I could have done it myself instead of messaging you in the same amount of time frame.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's some nuance. Like you could pre-draft stuff and get from 0 to 80% of the page pretty quick, obviously, but then that last 20% is disproportionately responsible for actually converting people. So you need to have a human in the loop.
Yeah, it just sounds so.
But yeah,
I'm just gonna get infuriated. Let's move on to whatever you were talking about. So I just like dwell on it live.
I know. That's what I figured. But yeah, so I broke down this giant list of tasks, and then I just found a bunch of opportunities where you just get so into habit with how you do things that you don't actually realize, like, hey, there are tools out there that can now do a lot of this for you, or at least significantly improve your leverage and stuff. So a good example is I need to make changes to Maker School reasonably often to reflect like platform changes and whatnot. Like we have this platform that I recommend pretty often called Appify. Appify has this little like news release features page where like it changes some of the actors on the marketplace. Specifically, it like forces you to get an account for some things and so on and so forth. So previously, I had a very inefficient way of dealing with this and updating everybody. I would just wait until somebody complained and then said, hey, this isn't working. And why isn't this, your program said it was cool. And then I'd like go and I'd update it. But now I just have AI tell me if any of the core actors that I use in my program have been updated or if there's any changes from Appify's release or features page that is impacting my program. So how do you do this? I just like basically say, hey, these are the things that I'm curious about. And I just scrape the page once a day, and then I just have it let me know if there's any changes to any of that. And if there are, then I just get a task where I like have to update the stuff with a summarized version of the changes. It makes my life super easy, right? And I'll be honest, these things happen pretty often. It's like once a week that one of the 10 software platforms that I talk about has some change that materially impacts the way that make your school curriculum works. So this allows me to actually go through and do the updates in a much more time efficient manner, which I think just increases the perceived value of the program. Other things, I will feed in the entire program module into AI in one shot, and then I'll say, hey, there have been some changes recently to X, Y, and Z. I want you to keep everything as similar as humanly possible to the way that it's written. Just incorporate the changes. Then it goes through and it does it. And now, instead of me sitting down and spending, 30 minutes doing the writing on this whole thing, it does like a reasonably good job in 2 minutes or so. So that's like a tiny bit of leverage. I do touch-ups and whatnot. There are some other things as well, but yeah, I
Can't
guess
you get someone to do that though? Or no.
Yes, you can definitely get somebody to do that, but I'll be honest, like if you feed it in your own writing, you're talking about Poppy a while ago and how great it was for like using your tone of voice and stuff. If you feed it in a big example of stuff that you have just written, and then you ask it to make some minor adjustments to it, it typically picks up on your tone of voice. At least the new 4.5 research preview does, and it does like a really good job. Like I don't actually have to go in and do many edits. A variety of other little things, of course, but yeah, I would say those are the main ones. Like there's some updating I need to do in terms of just my own knowledge. And previously I was doing it very inefficiently. Well, it turns out you can just ask O3 about some update to some technology, and then you can figure it out reasonably quickly. I think there are a variety of different things that you could use it for. You just have to understand what the limitations are, essentially. So in me doing this, I probably saved an additional half an hour to 45 minutes of my day with no actual downside. Now that seems incremental, but I think that's probably about as much juice as you can squeeze right now. If you find yourself squeezing out more time than that, then you're probably compromising the quality of the service or product or whatever that you're creating. But yeah, I would say that's my big point. So I think you probably have a lot of opportunities you could use it in your life too.
Yeah, I did actually 5 days in a row, 2 hours a day with a timer, like trying to do stuff with AI that I do every day.
Yes. How did that go?
I got a few good ones that save me a few minutes a day here and there, which is
pretty
good.
Small still. Huh?
I don't know, like just not having to do them is pretty good.
Yeah, because it's not just the time value; it's also like the context switching, which has a sunk cost every time you go from.
And I would be forgetful sometimes, like about doing it.
I think a good example of one thing I'm considering doing is I get like 5 to 10 sponsorship requests every day. And so the sponsorship requests are all very, very similar. They make some ask for my rate card or my sponsorship card. And so they say, hey, our company, so Vapi is a good example. They do like voice calling agents and stuff like that. And it's like a very big and sizable platform that I'm sure is willing to spend a lot of money on me. Hey, we want to reach out. We really love your content. We've been following you guys for the last like 3 months. How much would you charge for like a 60-second thing on Instagram or something? So up until now, I've just been like deleting and blocking all of these providers, which is not the most efficient way to do it. Now that I'm thinking about it, a lot of like Adobe just reached out and like I blocked the hell out of them. And I was like, oh shit, I probably shouldn't block Adobe. But anyway, think about it. If you just filter and then get all the sponsorship requests, and every time you get a sponsorship request, you simply just like get your rate card, and then you just like tailor it a tiny bit and then immediately send it back to them. Now you don't have to immediately block all the requests. Now you could look at how much money they're willing to pay you. So there's this guy that came to San Fran with me that does this sort of professionally, and he makes over $50,000 per short form video that he posts about a particular platform. Am I going to do that and compromise my perceived like ambivalence towards all these tools? No, obviously not. But I'm sure there's some way that I could make money just doing the exact same thing that I'm doing, if that makes sense. Like think about my Instagram. It's like 30 videos every month talking specifically about platforms and how to use them. I connected with another guy out there that does a lot of these brand sponsorships. And he said, hey, dude, are you doing any sort of sponsorships for any of this stuff? And I said, no. And he's like, you could make like an additional $25,000 to $30,000, not changing anything materially in your script at all. Literally just letting the people know that you're about to talk about their platform and then saying, how much would you pay me for it? Here's the script I'm going to use. I was like, are you serious? So yeah, he's doing that for me right now. So I think that these are examples of, like simple ways to do it. And I understand that kind of shits all over that idea that I gave you a moment ago about not using it to replace your communication. But I think that that's a hyper specific example. Like figuring out exactly how much money people are actually willing to give you for some open-ended question that would otherwise require a fair amount of my or a VA's time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's always like funny to respond to those just to see if, even if you're not going to do it, how much someone would actually pay you to do that.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm like 1/10 or not even like less probably of your size. And they're like, 4K, for like a 30-second thing. I'm like, really? That's weird.
Yeah.
I wouldn't pay me 4K for a 30-second thing.
It's the CPMs, man. What are you at now? Like $88 or some shit? Think about that.
Yeah, I'm in like literally in the 80s. But
yeah,
I guess it's also like they could say like all these people use our tool too. It's not just the 30-second shout out.
That's a really interesting point now that I'm thinking about it. I didn't even cross my mind, but you could say like, hey, insert really big creator here uses X tool.
Mm-hmm.
What a strategy.
Because I've seen in the past past 30 days 5 or 6 testimonials of people's websites that I did not give them, but I do use the tool.
That's hilarious. You're not
so
going
it's
to
just
name
like
any names, are you?
No.
That's freaking hilarious, man.
It's like Matthew Larson. I have like Twitter picture. Like, I love this tool. Like some bullshit generic review.
Some stuff like that. That just happened to me. A week and a half ago. This big guy who runs this company all about cold emailing. He went into my program maker school and then he copied all of the templates for email. And then he made posts about them and said, this is like how Nick recommends you do your cold email. And then at the bottom, it was like platform name. And then it was my face that he had edited being like, I was like, gross. And dude, it's a big company. Like, I kind of respected the hustle. It was annoying, obviously. But
that's funny.
Damn.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We'll do anything, which is good.
What's that?
I was going to change it because like we talked about my final one, you kind of ruined my life there with your project management and employee management
do it
stuff.
All day, every day.
Yeah, you go out of your way to do it, I think. So like have you ever read the book called Atomic Habits?
Yeah, dude, one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's one of everyone's favorites, right? You read it? It's a good one. Obviously a bestseller for a reason. But like where he's like, everything you do is a vote for the person you want to become.
Mm-hmm.
I've been like doing that lately, like just like, okay, let's just try this. I wrote down a bunch of stuff in my Apple Notes. So for example, votes for the person I want to become. I want to become someone who's fit, and why do this by not ordering any baked goods at the coffee shop, right? Or I only have cold brew or black Americanos, not cappuccinos with stuff, or work. Like when I'm distracted, I put down my phone and close the tabs and go back to work.
Right.
Like for my mind, instead of listening to music or YouTube brain rot, when I'm going for a walk, I listen to Alex Hormozy videos. And I like approaching the coffee shop, right? Because I do buy.
Yeah.
Okay, this is my chance to do it. I'm literally like, I go through my mind, and then I see like 1 cold brew, please. Yeah. But it's actually like funny, and it's like funny and effective.
You skip the Baus FFS videos for the videos.
Yeah. Body saying no when someone else is having like ice cream or dessert. But like it's actually seriously effective, and I'm literally like, it's like I'm on the way to a fight right now. But unless it was like watching brain rot or listening to like music, I'm Alex Hormozy on the way to the coffee shop to not get some baked goods. And then after I'm like, fuck, let's go.
Listening to like motivational reels.
And then I just say no to the muffin. Fucking go. And everyone's like, but it's actually very effective. And it's like,
is it?
I've been like telling people to start doing this. Like, I can't focus. My mindset's so bad. Instead of just saying like, get a better mindset, I'm like, okay, we're going to write this down. So we do this in my mastermind as part of the onboarding now. It's almost always related
stuff
to business stuff for that, and then you get to choose.
Give me an example of business, not food.
The like putting down like when I find myself on Twitter during a work period, I close the Twitter and put my phone away. Listening to podcasts or good videos instead of on the treadmill. Just like doing whatever. I have my Kindle on there, reading business books. When my employees make me angry, I'm working on my personality and reacting calmly and getting more information before immediately blowing up at them.
Oh, so that was you, right? Just to be clear.
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah.
I'm still working on it. I'm still doing these votes for the type of person I want to become. And then there's a lot of it. Like one of them is just like turn on the camera and start drawing on Miro board,
Mm.
you know, instead of like making every video perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's big.
But it's just like those things where we really need to like. It's actually very effective to me so far.
Yeah,
Where
it's
you instead
interesting.
of yeah, and then you like
Concept
you
is
do want
difficult.
to you do like so far. I've only been doing it for a week maybe.
Okay.
But so far it is like easier and easier. Like you just think about the stuff less and less. I don't need to be like, oh, okay, like, I'm gonna go to the coffee shop just to not get carrot cake for breakfast.
Yeah.
I'm going to the coffee shop to get coffee.
That's
And
a
then it's
vote
helped
for future Matt.
it's helped my focus. Like I'm the kind of person who submits 8 work forms a day.
That's the
It's
identity
good.
part of James
Mhm.
Clear's book, right?
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
every time you do it, like waking up at 7 a.m. Like I don't know, like a lot of them could be anything, not just business, but it's been helping my business probably. And then like the listening to actual instructional videos instead of music when you're walking, like you can get a lot of good ideas on YouTube if you actually watch the videos. Like imagine actually watching my content or your content or Alex Ramosey's content instead of just
hmm
subscribing or
hmm
watching for 5 seconds.
Yeah, it's interesting. I feel like there's also a more effective way to do that than we've probably been doing. Because there's one thing to like passively listen, but there's another thing to, I don't know, take some sort of notes
I
or
feel like
something.
you gotta like make it. I feel like one of the big things with getting them to watch the whole thing is making it like it might be a video, but you can just listen to it in the background.
That's interesting. That
Yours is
goes
hard. Yours is hard for that.
immediately
Mine is okay for
against,
that.
yeah, like the
Yeah.
Miro board stuff. You just can't because so much of what you're doing is visual, right?
hmm
Yeah.
But just like developing the skill of explaining it, even if they're not looking.
Something like this is a good example. But obviously, like the value per, like the informational content per second is lower than just like the
Yeah, gonna change my YouTube strategy to value per second. I think even if it's
VPS.
5 minutes, just like rip bangers every 10 seconds for five
Yeah,
minutes
like
instead of
what's the VPS of your channel? That's cool.
probably
I like
not
that
great.
idea.
Probably
No,
not
I
great right
honestly,
now.
I think the VPS of your channel is crazy, dude. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just
it's not my
nonstop
idea. It's this guy in my
bangers.
mastermind who made a YouTube module called value per second. We're taking it.
Well, I'm glad that I'm glad that you're mentioning this. What's one other thing that's really interesting? When you reach a sufficient size, you know how most of the time people look ahead of them and then they copy the people that are doing really well. What's cool when you're like reasonably big, like I consider myself right in the middle. If like this is like the big dudes now, and then these are like all the small dudes or something like that. I'm kind of right in the middle, right?
Mhm.
So, I like copy the hell out of Hormozy, for instance, for some of his thumbnail templates, or just the proof promise plan stuff, as well as a couple other things. But that's me looking forward. There's actually so much value in looking backwards at the small guys, like the dudes in your mastermind, for instance, and
Mhm.
then seeing what they're doing, and then using that to make you better. An
Yeah, I literally have my
example.
mastermind just to like see everybody's good ideas and take them from myself.
It's Matt's copy and paste funnel, and then you start a mastermind teaching people how to
Mhm.
copy and paste
Mhm.
strategies for people in your mastermind.
Well, I have access to 550 Facebook ad accounts
Do you really?
right now.
Oh, I didn't realize
Yeah.
that. That must be an incredible amount of
From
data.
1,000x leads, I mastermind
Mm,
just random people giving me access. So I can like go in sometimes and see like which ads are working and then use them for myself if it's possible. Sometimes, a lot
yeah,
of the time it's not really possible, but like if it's just like I'm going to set up your email flows has very little use to me as an ad concept, but
right.
there's certain ones if they're like lead gen specific too. I don't like copy or rip their business off or whatever, but or I already do the same business or whatever, but
He's legally
it's
mandated to say that, by the way.
yeah. But like this one guy that's my mastermind who does pay per lead like affiliate for realtors in Dubai, like trying to get international investors. Like those AI videos the first ones that I made with ArcAds, like I was saying, I just like literally ripped his script word for word, like copy and pasted it and put my name in there. And that one worked really well. And then I, fixed it up like it's like 6 iterations from there. And now it's, 20 times our amount of calls.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, obviously, we copy just as much as anybody else, but I think
Mhm.
there's a difference between just like staying there at the copy and then just like now applying some sort of iterative technique to make it better and better and better.
It's amazing with myself and just everybody. I'm sure you too. Like how a lot of things people do are just accidentally genius.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, like my first YouTube video, the only one that ever got any views, and now I'm washed out. It's like accidentally the best YouTube video ever. You know?
Yeah, but think about that in the context of a grander strategy. That's really just like interfacing with the market as often as possible. And when you do so, when you tend to be, like capable, like eventually
Mhm.
something that you do will hit, whether or not you intended it to.
Yeah, there's a lot of movies that are like accidentally genius, and you can tell by when they try to make a prequel. Mhm.
Yes,
You know? But yeah, this movie
yes.
was accidentally.
You're naming a
Clearly, they don't know
specific
why.
film series there, specifically maybe
Pirates of
something
the
that you spent
Caribbean.
20 hours watching.
Yeah, Pirates of the Caribbean for sure. Looks like your camera's a little zesty right now, so
Oh, that's unfortunate. Yeah.
we can't see you.
Well,
But I think we're ready to wrap
we
it up
did
anyway.
just wrap up, so good timing there.
Well, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.
Looking forward. Thanks, man.